Hello and thank you for choosing to watch this video. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, then you are welcome. And my name is Brother Sean and I'm a member of the Teo community of Interfaith Franciscans, an online community of men and women from different faiths who come together each day to connect with one another's love. Spiritual love on our live stream channels. But I want to share with you the content of an email which I received from one of our community, Sister Miriam in New Zealand, and it's called Sitting with the Yuck by Alana Sheeran, and it's beautiful, and I certainly connected with it because I could see a part of me in it. After years of personal development work, energetic healing and spiritual growth, I have an arsenal of tools in my toolbox to pull me out of a downward thought spiral or an emotional funk. But I've noticed that sometimes I'm too quick to make the shift. After years of therapy, I no longer need to know why I'm feeling a certain way, though sometimes it's obvious. But I do want to know what the feeling is trying to tell me. Well, the 3 dogs are trying to tell me because they're barking their little heads off. Usually it's a cry to take better care of myself, or a warning that I'm not listening to my deepest desires. Sometimes it's an indication that the thought circling in my mind is making me feel small. A habitual refrain telling me I'm not worthy, I'm not enough. There is a practice I use in these moments, and it involves throwing the words fix and change out of the window and letting myself be exactly as I am. I love it. Sometimes it feels counterintuitive. After all, if I know how to choose happy, why wouldn't I do that immediately? But I've come to realize that being present to what is, without needing to change it, is the richest place to be. Anytime I feel myself feeling uncomfortable, experiencing an unwanted emotion, or judging myself for feeling a certain way, I allow myself to sit in the middle of it. I physically sit or lie down, or I'll keep doing what I'm doing, but shift my awareness so it's more internal. Then I breathe and give myself permission to be exactly where I am. This might mean mentally repeating a simple phrase, I'm allowed to feel this way, or asking the feeling, what is it you want me to know? It might simply be putting my attention where I feel my emotion in my body and letting it ebb and flow. Sitting in the yuck is paradoxically the fastest path to releasing it, if it's done with a quiet mind. It takes practice, a lot of practice. There are days when I'm there for a grand total of 2.5 seconds before I re-engage with the story that's causing me pain. But more often than not, if I sit with it for a few minutes, it begins to transform of its own accord. Once I'm a quiet witness to the feeling, it no longer needs to push so hard against me. Waking up to ourselves means noticing, being with and accepting the entirety of who we are, the graceful pieces and not the so lovable parts. A friend of mine who woke up a decade ago and has spent years sitting in the midst of both her grief and her bliss, talks about our wounds being like shards of glass inside us. This happens all the time, that have us rubbing up against those shards, and suddenly we're oozing pain. Instead of fighting to fix and change and heal what's bleeding and feels broken, perhaps we can give ourselves enough space inside our emotions, our tender wounds, for grace and love and peace to enter. The next time you're feeling your very own version of yuck, I invite you to take a few moments and practice sitting with it. Give your feelings the space to communicate with you. Let your inner wisdom be your guide. Those words are so true, aren't they? Because you and I know that we live in a culture of quick fixes. And often the quick fix makes things worse. So let us just for a moment sit in the silence of love. Sit in the silence of our own sacred space. Because where you are sat and where your feet are placed, know this, that many millennia ago, our ancient forefathers may have crossed your very path, leaving you an enormous gift, the gift of peace and acceptance. So instead of trying to please everybody and anybody, my philosophy has changed too. It's important to please the divine within one, to embrace your shadows, your fears, and to stop running away. And that takes courage. But I'm also confident that if we use our gift of free will and ask our God to give us the strength, you'd be amazed. I'm amazed that I'm still living 14 years on with mental illness, severe bipolar as a result of taking or being given Prozac for reactionary depression to the loss of a dear friend of 28 years. And rather than fight it, it's about managing the dynamics of it. And I do it with prayer. And I offer my feelings as a gift of love. So the negative has become a positive by embracing your truth. So sitting with the yuck has been a learning experience. And I would like to thank Alana Sheeran and our dear sister Miriam for taking the trouble to share it with us. Namaste. God's blessing upon you.